Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Loaded Toon review. Although Loaded is looking very scarce at the minute, we're waiting to Pete.
I need to hire some more, I think.
Yeah. Disgraceful commitment. We were going to put two shows out today and do one review, but we thought, well, we'll just do it all in one night because it's painful. Obviously losing again, but that result at Anfield has just slightly cheered my face up. Remembering those United fans coming out to Wembley, getting in the face of my daughter, knocking the phone out my hand, thinking they're all big, and then they get thumped 7-0 at Anfield. And yes, it's Liverpool beating them, but quite frankly, I couldn't give a toss. Those Mancs that's been coming for quite a few weeks. Everybody's saying, oh, Man United, high and mighty this, high and mighty that. Bull rot. It's now come to light that, Varane and, come on. The best centre-back pairing in the league? I don't think so. But quite funny, really. And Henry Winter has just come out with an absolute belting tweet. It clearly aimed at Manchester United, of course. He's basically put, from Carabao to 7-Up, quite a week in English football. So, brilliant tweet from Henry Winter. Oh, he's here, look. He's here. He's just pouring his drink, making sure that he's got some substance.
Hydrated.
Yes, indeed. We'll go through a couple of comments. I mean, people have been putting comments in since 7:20, but we don't go on till 8. So the comments will start for me from 8 o'clock. Otherwise, we'll be about 5 hours behind them. Mr. Spoons, good evening to you. He says, it's clear Isak is streets ahead of Wilson in every department at the moment. Even the high press, it makes no sense to play him. Gary, good evening. Let's get down to business. Shamrock, good evening to you. Yano said, the Sky now changed the narrative to Manua on for the treble. Yes, pretty much so. Good evening, Gary. Mrs. Toon Review in the house. Spike, good evening, buddy. JT says a very good evening to everyone alike, hosts, mods, and chatters. Up the A1 says, if you want a good laugh, you need to watch Mark Goldbridge. Yes, funny enough, he's been set upon by quite a few Newcastle fans today after that performance. Which is it's quite. My God, we've got 3 from Loaded. Bloody hell's fire. Good evening, Richie, lad.
Evening, lads. You all right?
Yeah, we are. Well, even better after watching that match just gone by. Just saying that, it really fills my dreams that when I think about those Man United fans coming out of Wembley last week and getting in my daughter's face, guys, and knocking the phone out my hand and just giving us dogs abuse. And then I think of them tonight and I laugh. And I just laugh and I think, that's been coming. You deserve it. I bet you're not walking out of Anfield singing, you've seen United, now F off home. I bet you're not singing that outside Anfield tonight.
They won't be.
Yeah. Keith, good evening. Why could Man U not play like that? Well, listen, they weren't good last weekend at Wembley. The Man United didn't outplay us. Let's remember that. We just didn't take our chances. Story of the last few months. And I'm sure if we had, I think we would have come. I think if Maxi had scored that chance in the first half, we would have won that game because Man United, that's been coming for a long time. We've seen it. Everybody making out that they're back, the this, the that. They're not. They've got a long way to go to catch up to a few teams in that league. Wes says, although I highly rate Isak, think he's not at his optimum yet, possibly down to confidence and game time, and he should start ahead of Wilson. Once he gets a few games and starts, he'll be flying. Billy, another bad day at the office for Callum Wilson. How long does Eddie go with him?
Well, he can't go any further with him. He's got to give him a rest. That chance he missed in front of goal, where it's just a complete and a lack of confidence to not have even the ability to just hit the ball with his foot and not his studs he's that far out of form and out of fitness, if you like. I just think he needs to sit down for a few weeks. And if we had another striker, we could probably even sit out the squad for a few weeks, but we haven't. So, the chances are he's going to keep getting used because we're short numbers. Yeah.
Alex, were you surprised to see him in the starting lineup yesterday when the team came out? I mean, I think a lot of people got a surprise with the team, to be honest.
Yeah, 100%. He's not been right for about 5 weeks. And I think the final, I think you have to start him in the final just on accumulated credit in the bank and just who he can be and how he can play. You've got to play him in the final, otherwise it's just so disrespectful. The form continued, clean slate, get Isak in for this next game, and he's not played. And then Wilson's produced another, to be quite frank, I know a few people have said it was, I mean, I know, Billy, you've said it was an improvement on the previous week. I think that was one of his worst games in a black and white shirt. I thought he was absolutely abysmal, not even close to being a Premier League striker at the moment on form. We know he should be able to be one because he's been great, but I don't get it. I'm going to give it a pass this week because obviously it's the caliber of teams we've played 3 weeks on the trot are, supposed to be elite level clubs. So we can't throw our toys out the pram yet. We've just got to take it into context. But if he plays if he plays Miggy and Wilson again, people are going to start complaining about the manager's decisions. And I think it's if he plays them against Wolves and we also then lose against Wolves, then I think it's kind of fair people start questioning things. Maybe just the loyalty thing.
This thing on Eddie Howe, though, I mean, it's beyond a joke. Even in the watch-along stream yesterday, there was people coming in saying Eddie needs to go. He's not this, he's not that. And it really is ludicrous, to be honest, because, our manager's not allowed to have a bad spell or a bad run of games. It's not like he's lost loads of games. We've still taken points from games that, days gone by, we probably wouldn't. And then some idiot on Twitter last night tweeting me saying, that I put the comments into the chat myself to get attention, which I found astonishing. I've got time to type in comments when I'm doing a watch along.
Not that good at multitasking. There is not a chance that would be
Jesus Christ. Excuse me. I can multitask to a degree, but typing in comments as well as watching the football, as well as watching OBS Studio and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, I've got amazing hands. Anyway, Richie, I mean, look, it is a defeat. Eddie must take some kind of criticism, but criticism is very different to wanting him out the door. Obviously, there is going to be times where he's criticised, and he's probably criticising himself if he looks back and thinks, I probably got that team selection wrong.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. I think he's always looking to improve on his team, but he's also looking to improve himself as well as a coach. And, I think this learned step now he's going to have to take, as we mentioned briefly last night, is at this moment he's a good coach, a very good coach. But to get that next step of being a great coach or a world-class coach, he's going to have to learn from these mistakes himself. And perhaps you need to move on from the fact that you can't sometimes be loyal to the players who've done it to be before. And at the moment in time, with those, especially the front three that we've got on, they're not firing at all, full stop. You know what I mean? Especially we've said numerous times, you look at Wilson, he's just been not a shadow of his former self. You know what I mean? We're talking like gilt-edged chances he's missing here. We're not like saying, he's only getting half chances. There's like 4 chances you could think of the last few games, which he should have buried, and normally he would bury. And you just need to take out the fire line as well for his own good as well. Yes, he wants to play every single game and so that, but when you've got the club record signing behind him, is that something which is, it's rest really on his mind as well as it's that he's feeling a little bit of pressure of it as well, because beforehand he's always been he's been the club number 9, hasn't he? And going forward, long term, he isn't going to be the club number 9, is he? No,
I think it's pretty obvious. I just don't know what's happened to Callum. Spike Milligan, thank you for your 20 quid. Super chat, mate. He says, getting nervy. Defence crumbling and no teeth up front. Eddie needs to make a serious shake-up. It does come down to that, Pete. He's got to be ruthless now and say, look, Callum's had his chance. Isak needs a run of games from the start, surely.
Isak's the number 1 striker. whether he starts at the moment or not. You don't pay that sort of money for a striker and have him on the bench for so long. A lot of people have said, he should have started beforehand, but when you've been out for 5 months, you do need a little bit of time to ease yourself back into the team. You're not ready to hit the ground running. I do believe if he hadn't got injured on international duty, he would have been still out starting number 9 now on double figures, in my opinion, because that was the way he was going. But the injuries really halted him, unfortunately, and it's took him a little bit of time to get back. But Callum Wilson is under pressure because he knows these last 14 games will be the last 14 games where he's considered the number 1 striker as a number 9 starting for Newcastle under Eddie Howe. Eddie Howe knows it. Callum Wilson knows it. And this is why there's been a persistence in him starting, because next season there could be no justification for Callum Wilson starting. Approaching 32 years old, we are looking to not only, fingers crossed, be playing in Europe, but as well as that, maintaining ourselves in Europe next season. And what you need is a high-level striker. Unfortunately, a higher-level striker than what Callum Wilson is right now to take us forward. Isak is that guy, and he will be the guy that will get us goals. He will take us into not only a new era of playing European football with Newcastle, but I think he'll take us into a new era of style of football. I've said it for a while. I do think we'll have a new formation and a new approach next season under Eddie Howe. And I think Isak is the way forward. And you can already see Isak and Wilson play very, very differently. So Wilson was very much set up for the style of play that we wanted to play against Man City. But you can bet, and I'd be absolutely stunned if Isak is not playing next Sunday against Wolves, because he is ideal at St. James's Park to be going head to head with Wolves to get those 3 points. I mean, so that's where I am with those two right now.
Yeah, Callum needs to realise that he's got to realise that Isak is there, the competition. If I don't understand how Callum can just get picked every week, yet he's not playing well. It would seem like there's no pressure on him, but he's got to realise that Isak can come in and just take over, which I think he will do long term anyway. He looks like he's lost a yard of pace. His confidence is flat bang, like Billy said. That chance he had yesterday, before Christmas, he would have just swung his right boot. That would have been in the back of the net. A lot of comments coming in regarding Bruno Fernandes today, pushing linesmen, and that dive when Konate brought the ball out and he went down he actually fouled Konate and then went down as if he'd been struck in the face, and in slow motion, it hadn't even touched his face. It was just under his chin, but he went down holding his head as if he'd been poleaxed. He's a damn cheat, and quite frankly, deserved what he got today, because I can't stand that ferret-faced little twat. And I hope he just, I hope that injury is career-ending. Jesus Christ. To coin a phrase, says, I think if Cher declared he was concussed, we would have too. Daz, we've been talking all week about the injury to Fabian Cher last week in the cup final. It was clear that when he got up and came back on the pitch in the cup final, he did not have a Scooby-Doo where he was, because Botman went over to him, and we noticed this standing behind the goal. We saw Botman go over to him. Botman put his arm around him, said something, and looked back at the bench, and he said something back to the bench as well. And then this week, he's not involved at all through concussion. He should have been taken off that field.
Yeah, no, we did touch on this last night. No, Richie, you definitely did, because we did a short 2.5 hour show last night.
I noticed that.
And we had a few that had comments on our comments as well, but more so outside the show. Look, it's watching on TV. It wasn't as clear that he possibly should have gone off. But you guys were at the match. You saw it clear. You did see on TV the conversation.
It was at the other end of the home fans.
Yeah, it was.
Not Wembley. You know what I mean? It was the.
I was in front of the home fans because Man United were at home, because that's where all the fans live.
Yeah. We couldn't really see it. We're at the other side of the pitch.
Yeah,
but look at but they made the decision then during the week, obviously, that it was concussion related, and did the right thing in resting him, and hopefully he's back for the Wolves game, because that is a must-win game for us now.
Oh,
the next
God,
two,
with
the result today.
Yeah, I mean, look, I was standing, I was about 10 rows from the front, and he came back on, and he stood for about a couple of minutes. I don't know how much this was broadcast on the TV, but he stood and he looked into the Newcastle fans, but he was looking into the top tier for a couple of minutes as if to say he just didn't seem to know where he was. And I'm staggered that, the way concussion protocol is these days, that he, didn't come off, because I'm sorry, he didn't have a clue where Marcus Rashford was for that goal. He didn't know anything. And, I'm convinced that if we'd made a substitution, that goal may not have happened. But look, that's hypothetical. I just think concussion protocol, the amount of bangs he's had on the head, I don't want him to look back in future years and regret so many head injuries, because, we know how that turns out, myself included. So it's one of them things, I think. Clarkey says Wilson is brilliant, but massively fatigued and needs a rest. How is he fatigued? I don't get that. Unless it's he's fatigued because of the illness, fair enough. But we don't know what that illness was. Some websites are saying it was COVID. Some websites are saying he brought it back from Qatar. We don't know. But needing a rest.
You think about it, Paul. Most seasons, he has a 2 or 3 minute break for injury. He's not had that this season. While other players have been resting while the World Cup's been on, he's been out training every day. So if anyone's going to be fatigued out of our squad, it's going to be him. I can see that point, but I think the illness has affected him as well.
Yeah, and you can throw that in for Trippier too. There's been lots of talk about Trippier. I do get that, because during the World Cup break, a lot of our players would have got some time. I think they got a week or two where they were able to spend time with their families and have a proper rest, and then they came back to business again. And Wilson didn't have that, but at the same time, he was motivated to make the World Cup squad and went hammer and tongs to get it. So it's kind of swings and roundabouts, really. You can say he's fatigued, but he's got to experience something to be part of the squad that he can take for the rest of his life. So and he contributed, as little as it may seem. He got an assist, and he had a couple of run outs. So can't argue that. Trippier, on the other hand, has probably been more involved and played more matches for us this season. So there's probably more of an argument for Trippier than Wilson.
Now, Daz, I don't know what Jimmy's talking about here, but maybe somebody can enlighten us, because, half the time we never know what Jimmy's talking about. He says it's time for Rich and Pete to banish Daz to the under-21s.
Maybe it's my youthful appearance or something like that.
Well, I don't think that's it, Daz.
Neither do I. But
I did see a comment earlier on that you'd wanted Manchester United to win that game today.
Yeah, in last night's show, if Man United had won that game, it would have been better for us with regards to the table. And now Liverpool are sitting in fifth spot. We're in sixth.
I mean, look, Das. I know we don't like Liverpool. I know we don't like Liverpool, mate. But wanting Manchester United to win any game of football, you deserve to be pied.
I agree, because I actually hate Man United more than you, Paul, believe it or not. But because it was going to be better for Newcastle, my team comes first.
I'll be honest with you. I've seen on socials today. There's a lot.
Don't say it, Pete. Don't say it.
No, there's a lot of Newcastle fans that have been backing Man United today.
Well, I think they're insane.
I was genuinely surprised. There has been a lot.
I'm sorry, but I loved every single ball hitting the back of the net, seeing their stupid little faces. Just when it panted the Man United fans, those that stayed, it was hilarious, absolutely hilarious.
I don't care about either of them. I can't wait until we're beating both of them and we're lifting trophies and they're sat there.
Yeah,
further down the podium.
The one thing I'd say is that I've come to be accustomed with regards to Newcastle is that. We should never, ever, ever hold our hopes on opposition teams. We've had it before, whether it's been Man United, whether it's been Liverpool, whether it's been Man City, whether it's been whoever, to beat a certain team. They always fail. We just need to back ourselves 110% and screw the rest.
Yeah. It's usually at the other end of the table.
Never going to help us out. We have to do it by ourselves.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, I had heard this, but I really, it's never been confirmed, so we don't know. But apparently Fraser had a bust up with Trippier and went for him in training. Trippier put him on his ass. I did hear that, but who knows? If it's all pie in the sky, to be honest. We don't know. Buff456, thank you for your $4.99 super chat. He says, Wolves game is huge now. Team needs a refresh. Forest away will be tough. So need to get back to winning ways. Love the show, Paul and gang. Thank you very much, Buff. Ronald says, I know Liverpool have jumped over us, but Newton Heath deserved that 7-0 trouncing. Wes says, my need to get Shearer to Darsley Park to take the shooting practice. Wilson's miss was a woeful attempt. Roy says, I read everyone still gutted with yesterday, specifically the obvious lineup. Let's hope this is the end of that ineffective setup. Do we need to bring in somebody to... I mean, Alex, you've mentioned numerous occasions bringing in a set-piece person. They weren't great yesterday, but do we need somebody to come in and help the strikers?
Well, I don't know about that. I'm not sure that's on the cards, but anybody who comes in a coaching capacity, of course, will have, an influence in several departments. But in the job vacancy, it does specifically list set pieces. If I can find it, hang on, it should be like right here. It's in my screenshots. Where is it? Yeah, here it is. Oh no, that was the data engineer and stats one. There is another one. There's another one gone up as well, and it does include set pieces in the listing. So I don't know if it's just generalized because they've just put different things in the description. But we talk about Wilson. I think it's time to talk about centre backs. I mentioned this last week. I saw Ginger Pirlo start talking about it on Twitter today as well. So other people have started noticing it, not just me, that centre backs need to be doing more. Because ultimately, fair enough, seven goals for Wilson, 10 for Miggy. I mean, do we want more? Of course we do. But, Bruno's got 4 from midfield. Joe Linton's got 4 from midfield. I think Longstaff's got 3. So the midfielders are chipping in to a point. It's not terrible contribution from the midfielders. But Burn and Botman, both on 0. Shah's on 1. It's not good enough. I understand the job of a centre-back is not to score a goal, but a couple of goals over a season, if Burn gets 2, Botman gets 2, Shah gets 2 over the course of a season, all of a sudden, all these losses and draws, we get more points out of those. It takes the pressure off the rest of the squad. We're not expecting them to get loads. They don't. 5+ is unexpected. What's the word? You can't expect them to get that, but a couple in a season from set pieces, yes. So I think the centre backs need to start stepping up a little bit, or the deliveries, or the overall set piece structure, because it's just not working at all.
That's where Lascelles has come in the past. He for all his faults, even though we all 3 of us on load yesterday gave him man of the match.
I thought he played really well yesterday.
He deserved it. But, and he's always a threat from set pieces, and he nearly came close at the very start of the match as well. But we have been saying it for a while. We need some goals. So they're so tall and big. Why not put it in the back of the net?
It's unbelievable.
Paul, Lascelles loves the goal against Wolves. I'm just saying.
He does. But he had the best pass of the match yesterday, by the way. I think it was the first half when he pinged that one over for, was it Miggy? But unfortunately, it fizzled out because he cut back again. Geordie boy, thank you for your £5, mate. He says, I hope that 7-0 mauling hurt a certain Man United supporter as much as your dig did. Well, I hope so, matey, to be honest. I hope they're all, they'll be sick as chips tonight, losing 7-0 to Liverpool. I mean, they really will. Paul Tully, thank you for your £5. He says, evening, everyone. That was 7 beauties for those Man United fans and media shouting all week about how Man United are back, even if it was Liverpool. I mean, look, I just remember what they were singing coming out of Wembley, and just so above the station, about, you've seen United now F off home and all of this, and like as if they're the only United. And, quite frankly, they've been embarrassed today, absolutely embarrassed. We were not embarrassed last week. We weren't embarrassed yesterday. In fact, you know what it is? Whenever this is why we do the review a day later, because it gives us time to sort of just take things in a little bit and realize what's going on, because I don't think we played too badly yesterday. When I've watched things again, I don't think we were that bad. I honestly think we should have come away with certainly a point, if not 3, because of the chances we had were better than Manchester City's, and we were unfortunate that the first goal for them was Botman going in again, and it deflected. Pope was already going to his right. There was no way he could adjust his body to save that. I think
that was a 1-1 game.
Well, yeah, fair enough.
I think the final as well was a 1-1 game. I think they were both 1-1 games. I think we deserved at least a goal.
Yeah,
and I thought 2 flattered Man United and 2 also flattered Man City. I think both games were 1-1 games.
Yeah. Well, like I say, at least something from the games. I don't think certainly our performances don't merit the scorelines. I just don't think that. Chris Murray, thank you very much. Me old mucker from Whitley Bay, $4.99. Now living it up in the States. Hope you're well, buddy. KB says, good evening, guys. Hope you're all well and cool. I don't know about cool, but Susan has the tropical temperatures on again. Frankie says, looking leggy the last few games, need to increase the strength and depth. Are we looking leggy because of the quick game turnaround that we've had with regards to the Carabao and things like that, and the intensity that Eddie trains and plays at? Do you think that's an issue at the minute?
Well, it's the depth of the squad. I think you see the same players week in, week out, and none of them are getting a rest. Other clubs are using 24, 25 players a season. We've used 17 or 18. And that's why you're getting the fatigue, I'm sure it is.
It's just about luck as well, to some degree, because we're creating chances. It's just not going in the net. Something has to change. It has to change this weekend coming.
If you look at the way in which we play, and we've just talked about the intensity and the way in which we play, we press high. We don't do it for pockets of games. We do it for 90 minutes. Now, over a course of a season, it's always going to take its toll. It has to. Which is why I genuinely believe that the Chelsea game and breaking up for the World Cup probably came at a good time, because it allowed us to have a rest. Because I think if it hadn't of, I think we would have seen the burnout a little bit sooner in this pocket of fixtures. Whether these fixtures were over November, December, or whether they were over January, February, I think we would have seen it, because like you guys have just said, and you're absolutely right, it's not just game day. They play like that in training. At some point, it's going to take it out of you. At some point, you're going to have breakdown of injuries. So what do you do to combat that? You create a big squad of players to choose from, that when somebody's injured or somebody's tired, you can come in and replace them. You very rarely get players that are able to maintain those levels over the course of a season. So we've just talked about Wilson, but Trippier, more importantly, he hasn't played well recently. Been well documented about his performance yesterday. But for me, that's down to tiredness. He's our only right back, effectively. The only right back that we really trust at this moment in time. And he's been our captain and leader all season. But even the best get tired and need rest. And he's going to have to pull up a second win, because we're going to need him between now and the end of the season, because we don't have anyone adequate enough to come in and do as effective job as what he does. And this is the problem. But you look at other players. Sean Longstaff looks shattered. Dan Burn looks absolutely shattered. So it is a perfect opportunity for Target to come back in. It's a perfect opportunity for Willock to get back fit and play. And I do see that we need those changes. But equally, Isak is coming back to fitness now. ASM's coming back to fitness now. What I fully expect from both of them is to have good ends of the season, to stay fit and play well. And if we do that, Yano put it in the chat not long ago, like whether it's the top 4 Europe, it's still in our hands. We've still got games in hand. Players on teams in front of us, Liverpool, Tottenham. If we win the run of fixtures that we have in front of us, the next 4 or 5, we are right back in that race for top 4 and for Europa League, whatever you want to call it. And you talked about, Paul, and I remember what you just said about the Man United fans singing that song on the way out. I was in King's Cross, and I had Man United fans singing exactly the same. Don't forget, they come to St. James's Park very soon.
They do.
April the 1st. Is there a joke?
They're forgotten. And they're coming to St. James's Park off that 7-0 defeat, off our Carabao Cup defeat, and St James's Park will be absolutely rocking for that game.
Oh God, will it not?
Yeah, it's going to be a massive game, and if we turn them over, which I believe we will, okay, we have the right to then tell them to get back down.
See, I would love it if we were like winning the game comfortably by the 89th minute, and then the whole stadium just turned around and started singing, "You've seen United, now fuck off home." I think it would be absolute.
Get it done.
Brilliant.
It's worth pointing out as well that we've played Man City twice now. That's done. We played Liverpool twice. That's done.
Yeah.
And then the other big six in effect is Tottenham. We played away, so we've got to play Tottenham at home. I think Chelsea's away was it Stamford Bridge, the Chelsea game?
No, it's home.
No,
Or was it
away last game of the season.
Yeah, we do play them at Stamford Bridge.
Okay, and then who else have we got? So Tottenham, Chelsea. Arsenal.
We'll go to Brentford.
So we've done. You'd say if on balance, we've got the harder games out of the way. Liverpool are done. City are done now. We've got a few home games against the bigger teams. If we can find our way back into some form and change the lineup a little bit with the likes of Isak and Target and Maxi and Gordon and just try and freshen it up.
Kenny said if he had COVID, he wouldn't be in the team. There's a difference, Kenny. If he's tested negative, you can still have the long-term issues with COVID. And we've heard that from a lot of people who've had long-term effects of COVID, depending on the strength of the illness that he had. Wilson.
Oh, right. Yeah, he did have it. It was that was a while back though, I think. Yeah,
but there's certain websites reporting that he's had it again, Pete, since the World Cup. That's what the illness was when he was training on his own and things like that. But look, Newcastle don't want to announce what that illness is, and maybe Callum doesn't want it out there either, and that's perfectly fine. I don't have a problem with that at all. So there's no issue. Okay, mate, no problem. Alex has got migraine. Just going to get some pills. I don't know where Richie's gone. He's there, but he's not there. But he's obviously just sorting something out. Jordy B says, sorry, but Wilson needs to be let go now. Injuries taking their toll. The GOAT NUFC says, I'm sorry, but Callum Wilson needs to be benched next game. He's been shocking. I love Eddie, but he needs to stop being so loyal to certain players. Billy, I think at the minute, Eddie, this is his first full season, right? I think people forget that this is the first full season he's been with us. And obviously, there is a plan in place. Amanda has spoke about that plan many times in the last week or so. I expect we're going to spend in the summer. In fact, I don't think there's any doubt about that. And Eddie's going to have a big squad to choose from next season. Now, what these caliber of players are, then we'll have to wait and see. But I'm sure they'll be able to attract good players no matter where we finish. But look, I think, when I take stock of things, I think this has been a brilliant season. I really do. And I still think the football that we play in is really good to watch. And I said the word yesterday that what these previous few games have been, rather than being disappointing or anything like that, they've been frustrating. It's frustration that we haven't been able to put the ball in the net.
Because between each penalty box, I think they're still playing as well as we always did. It's at each end of the pitch where we're making a few mistakes defensively. We're not clinical enough offensively. And that's where the results are coming down. As soon as someone gets a goal or two, confidence is rises straight away. I think the goals will start going in. And the defence, obviously, once Trippier's leading the line, because he's the one that calls the lines, and he's been caught. He's been playing people on side and all sorts lately. Not quite been at it. I think once they get their heads back in order, I think they'll be okay again. But the middle of the park is where we thought he'd struggle. In actual fact, that's the best part of the pitch for us, even though we haven't got the depth there. The football we're playing at times, we held our own with Man City yesterday. I thought we played as good as football as them. I thought we looked as dangerous as them. And as people have said, I think we probably deserved a point from it yesterday.
I wasn't that overly impressed with Manchester City. I didn't think, they looked like they blew us away left, right, and centre, which they didn't. No. I think we competed really well. It's just the finishing, and I think I said this yesterday. I think we need something to go in off somebody's backside or something just to get one, and then the confidence comes back again. People start taking shots, but I mean, Daz, we've said for a long time now that the players seem devoid of shooting for some reason, and we don't know why that is when they're in a shooting opportunity. I mean, Joe Linton had one yesterday when he cut inside at Kyle Walker. He had a chance to hit it, but decided to slow it down again, try and take on another player, try to win a free kick, which he didn't, and we lost the ball. It's frustrating.
I said the same thing yesterday, Paul, when I was just running through this pretty much towards the start of the show. We try to work it into the best possible position to take a shot, but that never arrives, and then we lose the ball, and it builds up again, and then they lose the ball, we're back, ping pong back and over. But just a pop shot. Yeah, and you refer. I actually said I'd never talk about the cup final ever again. You're making me do it. But when Murphy come on in the cup final, he just took a pop, and the swerve on it just took a wide. It was unlucky that he didn't do his usual, miss it slightly and go in. But it just takes one little thing. And I agree that we score one, we'll go on a bit of a run, and God, it just has to happen this weekend. I am kind of worried that if we don't get a result against Wolves, because they're in a bit of form as well. The bet Spurs, they bet Liverpool 3-0, I think, and so it's just
their new manager's got them going a little bit, hasn't he?
Yeah,
so it's not going to be just a walk in the park, and I think that's the problem. Sometimes because we've been doing so well this season, sometimes we think, we can just turn up and beat teams. Now, I'm pretty sure that we are still going to finish in the top 6. I'm not doubting that for a second. I think we will turn this little blip around. And one player, Pete, who I've been pretty impressed with, and we guys said this yesterday, over the last couple of games, is Jacob Murphy. I mean, he came on yesterday and he put 2 unbelievable crosses in, and nobody's there to finish the ball.
But there's a reason for that, and it's because the strikers are not expecting a ball like that, even though they should be. And this is part of the problem: is that you've had wingers over the course of the season that don't cross the ball. We've talked about Miggy. Miggy has scored 10 goals. He's been outstanding this season, a season that I don't think anybody would have expected from him in goal scoring related. But in game, there are still opportunities where he doesn't cross the ball. Even when he's been on the left at times, where he's popped up on the left, he doesn't cross the ball. Yeah. And so if you've got a winger that never crosses the ball, you're not going to expect it. St. Maxi, he does put balls in now and again, but not as consistently as a winger should. Even when Joe Linton's played on the left, or Willock, they don't get balls into the box. They normally like to cut inside. So as a striker, you're really frustrated. But this is what we've been crying out for. And look, Dan will know, we've talked about it on Loaded. I've mentioned it so many times, even on the tactics board. I've said, switch Maxi and Miggy and just get them to whip balls into the box on their favoured foot and get strikers in the 6-yard box attacking the ball. And the problem is that Murphy and Willock on that right-hand side, because don't forget Willock's ball in, the first one, was outstanding when he first came onto the pitch. Whipped the ball into brilliant areas. And the first one from Willock, it's like, wow, did that really happen? And that was the strikers' reaction, because they weren't expecting it. And then when the next one comes in, I think it's Joe Linton where he misses it. Could have and should have done better. And then the third one comes in, and it's almost like this is too good to be real for some of the strikers. But we need to be working on this in training. Players playing on the right side of midfield with their favoured foots to whip balls into the box. And we need to train on it and work on it so strikers can get used to the type of ball that's coming in and make the right run. And I tell you what, you'll have Isak and Wilson scoring more goals off the back of that. We don't have players that are playing that way, and we haven't had it for a long time. And this is part of our problem, is that the strikers have to play a different way, a different style. They have to score goals in different ways, and it's frustrating. It's frustrating. It must be frustrating for them. It's frustrating for us. Because how many times, Paul, have you been watching a game and you're going, just put the ball in the box, get the ball in. And it never happens, and they keep turning the ball over side to side, which is great. We keep possession, we're not creating anything. We're not creating opportunities. And Daz made a great point about taking those pot shots. We don't shoot enough. How many times have we, over the last 5, 6, 7 games, turned around and gone, just have a go?
Yeah.
You see momentum pop up on the edge of the box. You see Longstaff pop up on the edge of the box. Can both strike the ball from distance.
That's
It's like they're trying to score the perfect goal, and you know
Yeah.
it doesn't happen that way. It shouldn't be that way. Yes, there's a time and a place to score those kind of goals. Somebody just super chatted a fiver there, and I lost it. Billy, have you got that?
No, I'll find it.
I'll come to it.
Can I just say for what Pete's just said there? This is a prime example of what is low hanging fruit for the journalists for the pre-match press conference at Wolves. For Wolves, it is literally inverted wingers whipping balls into the box, primarily because we saw those good balls in from Murphy and the one from Willock. It's completely in context and the right time to say that. You know what's going on with the wingers. Do you want to? Because Murphy's the only one who will ever play naturally on the right side in the entire squad. He will play everybody else inverted. Is he willing to give it a try? Is it something they've talked about? Is it something that's just not in the cards for this season? Again, low hanging fruit. They should be asking these questions, and I really hope somebody asks, because it'd be nice to know the answer as fans. And again, like you guys just said about taking a few more shots as well, maybe for 30, 40 minutes, if the high value stuff doesn't work, just take a couple of 25-yarders and see what happens.
Paul, I'll ask you the question. Obviously, you guys have talked about Murphy on here on Toon Review, and you talked about he's done all right. With the need and the desperation for 3 points against Wolves, would you start him next week? It's a tough question.
Well,
I think he's played himself into the side, if I'm honest. The past 3 games. I think he's
there's a possibility, but how many times have we seen, though, that when Murphy does come on these cameo appearances and really impress, and he really has done. But then when he starts a game, it's an entirely different kettle of fish. He doesn't seem to get into the game as much as he does when he comes on as a sub. However, you never know with Murphy. You never know what he's learning under Eddie Howe. Is he actually getting better? Because he was by far and away the best crosser of the ball yesterday. Trippier's crosses were non-existent again. Some of the corners didn't hit the first man. We need to mix it up again. We need to mix it up with the set pieces. Somebody different needs to take them. Now, we know Murphy can take set pieces. He scores from set pieces. He can cross a ball. So, you know what? As daft
he
as
asked
it sounds,
Trippier if he could take that free kick.
Yeah, he did.
He didn't take it, obviously, but he asked, which was I thought was quite brave.
Yeah. I just think that there is a possibility for a shout. Yeah, I do. I wouldn't have said that a couple of weeks ago. Now, it's very, very different because of the lack of chances that we're creating. The thing is about Murphy is he gets the ball, and if he has an opportunity to cross it, he'll swing it in straight away. He doesn't hesitate. And that's what you guys are referring to with a striker. You want your wingers getting that ball, looking up, like David Beckham used to. David Beckham couldn't take a man on. He wasn't a great dribbler of the ball. But by God, he could cross. Gary Neville could cross a ball as well. They pinged that ball in the first opportunity that they got, and we don't. By the time we cut back and play it backwards again, it gives the opposition time to get back into shape, get back the players into the defensive situation, and the move dies. So we need somebody who's willing to get that ball and whip it in straight away.
We've had him at Newcastle, Paul.
Yeah.
Robert.
Yeah.
Roberto Solano. More recently, and he was a centre midfielder for us, but Joey Barton. Barton
and Nolan could do that.
Joey Barton was key for Carroll and Nolan getting their goals. It was literally, you knew what was going to happen, and they still couldn't stop it. It was a floated ball in by Barton, a flick down from Carroll. Nolan would be lurking in and around.
Fair, Barton did play right mid.
Yeah, there we go.
It wasn't really.
But it worked. Everyone knew their place. Everyone knew what they needed to do, where they needed to be, and it worked. The striker was involved. The delivery was spot on. Didn't matter where it was on the pitch, whether it was in a free kick on the edge of, on the halfway line, whether it was a corner. It didn't matter. You knew what it was going to do, and they couldn't stop it. And we need to find a way of getting that back. We do.
If Murphy plays next week, I think you got more chance of Wilson playing than he's at.
Yeah, you have to. We talked about this last night, and we have the last few weeks that if you're going to play with wingers who put the ball on that, you've got to play with Wilson because he's the one that normally would thrive on the ball's going down the box. However, this is going back to the final last week. You look at that ball that was played in before that chance ended up at Maxi getting it saved off ASN. Normally, Wilson would be that would be bread and butter. He'd be sliding in, attacking that ball, but he's that out of confidence. He's not even doing that now. And that was it's a simple, poacher's goal for him sort of thing. But he seems to be a yard off that as well. So he's not even expecting a cross to come in anymore. If we're going to play with the inverted wingers, you're better suited to have an Isak in there, because obviously then you cute movement, you know what I mean? The one-touch balls and stuff. And that's something where, we've talked about as well before. You look at Almiron, he loves that sort of thing, and so does Bruno. Is it something where, perhaps need a slight little change in your formation? And as me and Peter said numerous times, Miggy's was predominantly for Paraguay and Atlanta. He's a number 10. Get him in behind whoever's if it's Isak up there or even Wilson, get those nice little through balls through, and you can work a little bit around the box as well, rather than, but you have to play the inverted wings to do that. If you're going to play with Murphy or even Maxi on that right-hand side, because he's done that plenty of times. When he's on that right, he gets down and whips the ball in. He's done it loads of times for Wilson in the past. That's the thing to do. If it's got to be Wilson for nowhere inverted, Isak's the better one for me.
Well, I think with Isak, right, I don't think he's had long enough running the team for us to say maybe he's not a header of the ball. I don't know. We've seen him miss a couple of headers, Sheffield Wednesday in particular, when he had a goal one.
Great heading. He's never been good in his whole career. He's averaging one aerial duel, 1 per 90, which is. But we don't. Yeah, but you fire in a cross, Alex. We don't know yet what he's like in the box, and he hasn't been on the pitch long enough to do that. It was a problem at Real Sociedad. It was a problem that was regularly discussed in the Spanish media and the Real Sociedad fans. That why can this 6'3" lad not head a ball? It was an honest problem, and it's something that it was noted when we were doing all the reviews when he first signed. Well, it's something he's going to have to work on, isn't it, in a hurry? Because if he's going to be our main striker, we need him to head a football. There's the super chat that we missed. Dean Hughes, thank you very much for your $5. He says, Dan Ashworth said before the Leicester game, they have plans in place for signings in the summer, and that is such a refreshing change. Yeah, look, it's all about patience, I think. I think given the season we've had, I think it's took away the fact that, we are rebuilding this football club, from the inside out. And it's a rebuild, and a rebuild doesn't happen overnight. It just so happens Eddie's got us playing some really, really good football early doors this season. We've accumulated a lot of good points, and we've become a very, very good team. And I think as long as they keep that morale and confidence in the dressing room between the team, they'll get out of the funk that they're in. And I think it's only a matter of time.
Just on that point, we have had a brilliant season so far. Apart from from the 15th of January on, things haven't worked out first, but. That's only half the season. What's wrong with wanting more? Being that big greedy. We're not asking to win the league. We're not asking that to get the top 4 at this stage. But continue on. Yeah, we can look to the summer. We can look forward to the summer and the bulk of signings that we need to bring in. And the some of the mascots we need to offload as well, and just change it up. Thank them for their service, and on they go. But there's still plenty to play for, and let's not write off the rest of the season. Let's try to win every game going forward. Absolutely. And go for it. Finish as high as we can, whether that be 8th, 10th, 5th, 6th, or even 4th.
Well, I think that's what Eddie will be saying. He's a winner, isn't he? He says he goes out to win every game, and you can tell he does. But Richie, with regards to Miggy, I've seen a lot of people making comments that Miggy's gone back to his normal sort of headless chicken role where he's just running around the football field with that, giving it this when he's sprinting and doesn't really do anything. He has been poor the last couple of games. Would you, I'll ask you, would you put Murphy in next week, seeing as Murphy's done so well?
I don't know. For me, I think Murphy's still a good impact sub. I would rather give either Gordon a chance or Maxi a chance on the right, if I'm honest, because I still believe that Maxi's head and shoulders a better player than Murphy. Maxi has got the speed to get past the full back and whip a ball in, and he's also capable of the unknown and creating a goal out of nothing as well, whereas Murphy's not really like that. Obviously, we know that Anthony Gordon played the majority of his game on the right-hand side, but obviously we don't know whether it's something like that that's going to be the left-hand side is preferred for. And this is something that I probably wouldn't actually...
Jack, it was the first.
What, sorry, Alex?
I'm just being corrected that the Man United fixtures on April the 2nd. It was penciled in for April the 1st, so they must have changed it for, TV rights or anything. Sorry.
Yeah. Sorry, I was just going to... The interesting thing I wouldn't mind, I suggest, because obviously we know that Isak and Gordon are Ashworth and Howe signings, but where does the panel actually think that he's actually aiming them to play going forward?
That's a $1 million question.
It's a great question because I think they wanted to play Gordon on the left, but watching him yesterday, spent the whole game running across to the right, didn't he, with the ball at his feet? He hardly advanced up the left touchline at all. He was just running across the pitch. So I'd give Gordon a go on the right. I'll be honest with you. I thought he'd have played there on Saturday. If I'm perfectly honest.
Let's not forget we're without Joe Linton for the next 2 games as well.
This is true.
And he's going to be a massive miss, going against the likes of Neves, etc. for Wolves. And, Forest is not going to be an easy game at the City Ground either. They'll be well up for that. Of course, John Joe Shelby there and Chris Wood, of course. So Chris Wood would be looking to shut me up for a start, as well as many other Newcastle fans. Yeah.
Well, he's going to score. It's written in the stars, isn't it? So
hopefully we're 5-0 up at that. Hopefully we're 5-0 up by that time. Let's not panic.
Just on Gordon as well. When he first came in, Eddie Howe did say in the press conference he saw him as a winger who can play on either side and even through the middle. So those were Eddie Howe's words, which is obviously I was contemplating whether he'd maybe use him as an 8 from time to time. He's not. It doesn't look like that's going to happen. It looks like he's either side or through the middle is what Eddie Howe said. Whereas we've not heard him say that about any other of the wingers. He's used Murphy on both the left and the right. And we've not heard anything about whether he wants Maxi or Miggy on what side, because the journalists just haven't asked that question, unfortunately. So he's the only winger that we've actually been told by Eddie Howe where he sees him playing, which is both sides. Whereas I just wish we knew about the other wingers. So they need to ask the damn question.
It's the same thing, though. They haven't really told us what the plan for Isak is either. Or they're wanting to play him through the middle. Did they see him as a left, like the left winger who wants to cut in?
He has answered that question just vaguely. He said he's a striker who can play wide. That's what he said, and that is all he said. So
again, it's going to be across time, isn't it? I mean, if we bring an out and out striker in the summer, just a simple goal machine who just stays in the box, maybe he has plans for Isak to play out on the left and cut in, because Maxi may not be part of that. We just don't know. But we do have over 800 people watching tonight, guys. So thank you very much for tuning in on a Sunday night. If you are enjoying the show, please don't forget to hit the like button. And of course, if you're new to the channel, come and be part of this amazing community. Hit the subscribe button and also that bell, which will let you know when we go live, upload, or we schedule in a show. And also, of course, the guys at Loaded Mag NUFC, who we're in collaboration with. Their channel link is down in the description. Go and hit that and subscribe to their channel as well. Great football content across both channels, collaborating with each other and hopefully grow really, really well together. So go and give Loaded Mag a subscribe as well. Now we got Francisco in the chat. He says, Grimaldo. Hello, boys, chatting mods. Hope everyone is having a wonderful Sunday. It's a bit of a letdown, but a lot of games to go. Anyways, Grimaldo is who I want for our team. Who is Grimaldo, Alex?
Well, he's a fullback. It's the whole Dan Burn thing. We'll see.
Okay.
We'll see. We'll do that in a transfer show if there are murmurings. But yes, it has got to that point. It got to that point 3 or 4 weeks ago where we were questioning Burn. He's competent, but he's not. That's it. He's just okay, and we need somebody who's better than just okay at this point in time. So yeah, we'll cover things like that in a transfer show. But Grimaldo is a very good player, Francisco. Yes.
Sean Wiseman makes a comment saying, "How can we be leggy? We had time off at the World Cup. Yes, our team is thin, but to say leggy is just an excuse. The fact of the matter is, our squad is bang average. We've overachieved all season." Sean, we are not bang average, pal. Absolutely, is it? We are not bang average, mate. Bang average I'm not having it for a second. Not having it. Anyone want to reply there?
It's down to intensity and short and depth of squad. Basically, that's why we've got a very shallow squad and the intensity of player, and you can't keep doing that, can you?
Right, so we are first for what's in the best for goals conceded per match, and we've still got the best defense in the league with 12 clean sheets. Our expected goals has us. We've got 6th best expected goals in the league. You know, we're 7th for average possession, 8th for goals per match. We're 3rd, as I keep pointing out, for big chances missed. We are right up there for all the positive metrics, and we've been very unlucky in front of goal. We're in the top 6 for pretty much every positive metric. So we deserve to be where we are in the table. It's no joke. It's not like we're performing at 10th or 11th and just overperforming. We are where we are performing in the metrics. We are where we're meant to be.
David Cook says our downfall is fans' negativity. Eddie, we trust, he feels it too, and we'll work things out. I think the problem is, David, it's a handful of fans that keep pointing up every time that we don't win a game or Eddie's not up to it. Eddie out, Eddie out. And I think a lot of people mistake constructive criticism for wanting Eddie out the door as well, and negativity. It's not. When we do, across both channels here, when we do reviews of matches, as fans, we are perfectly entitled to be critical of that performance. Now, that is what we're doing when we do match reviews. We are reviewing that in particular performance, not the season. Because if you ask any of us, we've loved what we've done this season, and we're having a great time. We're enjoying the ride, and we'll continue to enjoy that. But when we're talking about, just saying, oh, maybe they could have done this, maybe they could have done that, it's exactly what a group of lads would say having a pint in the pub. They're all talking about their opinions on what we should do, and that's exactly what we do on these channels. And some people mistake that for negativity, and it isn't, because we can be constructively critical sometimes, and that's what we aim to do on this channel. We don't aim to be negative, and we're certainly not, because we're loving what Newcastle United are doing. We're loving what the club is becoming, and we're very excited about the future. And I think you guys would agree with that, surely.
Yeah,
exactly.
100%.
It's one of those things. You're always going to get certain sections of the fan base that are not going to be happy with things. I mean, for people to question Eddie Howe, I think it's crazy. I think it is very, very clear that the ownership see Eddie Howe as a long-term manager. So we need to give him a long-term project, and we need to give him a long-term period of time to put this right. I go back to the point. There'd be no better feeling for me than seeing an English manager win as a trophy. When was the last time an English manager won a trophy?
Well, exactly.
A major trophy, should I say. And so, therefore, I want Eddie Howe to do it. And for me, I just think, as you've said, Paul, quite rightly, we are allowed to be critical of a performance or a game or a player. Doesn't mean that we hate the team. Doesn't mean that we think the team's a load of rubbish. Not at all. But for some small sections, you're just not allowed to do that. And you've just got to switch off from it. If I'm honest with you, it is what it is.
Yeah, just another thing. Like anyone watching the show, us all on screen here, and anyone watching either channel or other channels as well, we're all in love with Newcastle. So if you're like me, your weekend is built up around the match, and if we get a result, you're all positive, you're happy. If you don't get a result, it's emotional. Like you turn to the dark side a bit, and yeah, I can understand then people putting out messages, just maybe not even thinking it through. Like there was one there yesterday that we touched on that suggested Eddie out, Lascelles in as player coach. So I don't know
what.
So yeah, I don't know.
Surely they weren't being serious.
It was on a Facebook group, Paul. So you can probably go and check it out.
Oh my God! I'm pleased I didn't see that. Christ Almighty!
I mean, that video about it if you'd have seen that.
Yeah, that would have been going too far.
I mean, I saw a post on Twitter yesterday from an Arsenal supporter who, while they were 2 down, was shouting Arteta out.
Yeah.
And he's a YouTuber too.
Yeah. It is incredible. And look, it's like Pete said, you criticize something, and then for some reason you get a pile-on saying, oh, you want this guy out, you want that guy out, and it's pathetic, because football fans have done this for years and years, way before social media. They've had sort of conversations in the pub or, restaurants, etc., talking about football and talking about what they think could improve the team. And, it's happened for years and years. And just because we do it on a social media platform, that doesn't mean we're being negative. And I think a lot of people get mistaken for negativity all the time when we are just coming up with ideas of what Eddie Howe can do. Listen, Eddie Howe's not going to listen to, us guys sitting on it in front of a camera. He's not going to pay any attention to what we think. He's going to pay attention to what he believes in. And, but we can still talk about what we think. It doesn't mean that Eddie's going to look at it and go, oh, yeah, I should do that. Yeah. Oh, Billy mentioned this or Pete mentioned that. I think I should do that. Or, it's not going to happen. But it's just the way us as fans express ourselves. This is
why I want the journalists to ask the questions, because it's fair that, we know we're not qualified. We're just fans, which is why we want people to ask the professionals these questions so we can kind of have an answer. So then, because maybe there is a great answer to it that we don't know and we'll get put in our place and then it will clear everything up. Like I would be happier for that to happen than for us to just not know why forever. Yeah. It's just annoying.
John says, what are your guys' thoughts on Amanda saying she's a massive Liverpool fan but bought us because it was a cheaper option? I couldn't give two monkeys' arses about it, to be honest, John. I really couldn't, because Amanda has stated many, many times over that she fell in love with the football club. That first game she came to watch against Liverpool, despite the fact being a Liverpool fan, she fell in love with the Geordies, and she has wanted to buy the club ever since that time. And she has stated on numerous occasions where she and the other owners want to take this football club. And quite frankly, I couldn't give a monkey's who she supports, because I know for a fact she's a genuine woman and completely believes in this project at Newcastle United. And she wouldn't come out and say, we're going to win everything, if she wasn't totally convinced that the plans that these owners have for the football club is going to bring that to fruition. Does anybody else feel offended she's a Liverpool fan?
I saw that clip as well, and the key word in all of that is was.
Yeah.
Was.
Yeah.
And no one can doubt that she's 100% committed to Newcastle now.
The thing is that's exactly like saying about Jamie Rubin, though, because obviously he's worked with other football clubs.
Queen's Park Rangers.
Exactly. And all of a sudden, no one ever questions his likely being an owner at Newcastle now, and his family being 10% stakeholders at Newcastle either. It's just because she was the one who mentioned that at the time. But she's got that passion for the club. She pushed for the sale for 3 years from the time she said she was interested. You can't knock her for her loyalty towards Newcastle.
2 seconds, Pete. Alex, that's fine, mate. Go and get yourself into a dark room, buddy, because you cannot cope under the lights. I'll speak to you soon, bud.
Yeah, I'll be back next show. See you guys.
All right, good night,
mate.
See
Alex.
I'll be honest, Paul. I don't even understand why this is news, because if anyone knew anything about Amanda Staveley, we knew she was a Liverpool fan even before the deal was provisionally agreed during lockdown. The fact that that's being dragged up again seems to me that it's been dragged up by somebody that's not a Newcastle fan that's trying to throw a spanner in the works. You know what? She does not have to justify herself.
No, of course she doesn't. Absolutely not.
She doesn't need to justify herself about where her loyalties lie. I'm sorry. The fact that for the last 18 months before that takeover went through, that she persisted and she worked and she never ever gave up, when it would have been easier for her to give up and just admit defeat when she
buy someone else.
That for me shows her loyalty to this club. And what she's done in the last year is more than what's happened under Mike Ashley for the last 15. So for me, I don't care. I do not care. I do not care who owns this club. As long as they are willing to do the right thing and show the right ambition for this club to make it the best it can be. As long as they're doing that, I don't care where they're from. I don't care who they are or who they previously supported. I do not care one iota in. All the Amnesty International, I understand why you're angry about that. All the other people that, all the journalists that throw negativity towards Newcastle, you can do whatever you want. As a fan of Newcastle United, I don't care. I just don't.
Yeah, I don't think anybody does. And that's why on the other show last week, I came out with, you know, those idiots on social media hammering Amanda for her looks and things like that. And I'm thinking she'll not be bothered by that. You know, she's a successful woman. She's really doing well. And you know, she won't care about that, just like we don't care about what these idiots are saying about the club and stuff. And every single time that somebody says something regarding Newcastle United or regarding, you know, anything that could possibly be linked to Newcastle United, the journalists pounce on it as a negativity and think, right, yeah, we can get that. We can create the negative headline with that and throw, like you said, Peter, Spanner in there to try and create a bit of unrest. It's not going to happen because we're a long way past the takeover now. We you know, I know some people keep saying, look where we were, look where we were. I don't want to do that anymore. I want to look forward now. We are where we are now. And it's pointless saying, oh, look where we were, because that's past. It's gone. We are where we are now. And the future is wonderful as far as I think. And guys, I've just seen a stat in the chat there, and I didn't know this, and it's a haunting stat. But did you know that we have not won a football match in the Premier League since the departing Chris Wood left? And people in the chat are saying, is his influence a miss in the dressing room?
No.
I mean, hey.
Not hope. Sorry.
Well, I know. Keith Truscott, thank you for your £5 super chat. He says, Amanda shows the same spirit as the players towards our great club. End of. Yeah, look, you just have to look at the last game of the last season, the last home game, when they came around the pitch. Amanda was in. She's not bothered about security or anything. She was in hugging the Newcastle fans, taking photos, autographs. If she wasn't in it, she wouldn't do it.
Paul, go back to the final last week when the lads went up to get the losers medal. Obviously, you might not have seen this in the ground, but she gave every single one of them an emotional hug. She could see they were upset. She was like a mother figure to every single one of the players as they walked past. The embrace she had with Eddie Howe as well, because you could see Eddie Howe was...
well, Eddie apologised to her, didn't he? You could plainly read his lips, and he said he's sorry. And Amanda just sort of grabbed him like he was his mum and just hugged him and said, and it was like, don't worry, there's plenty more of this to come, and we will get that elusive trophy.
Fanton, she's too involved in it because she's too emotionally involved in it. But no, it's all good, and it suits because that's the way we all are when it comes to Newcastle. We are too emotionally involved.
It's a roller coaster, and it always will be. No matter if we're winning Champions Leagues or anything like that, it's always going to be a roller coaster. There will always be people looking to bring us down. You know, it happens all the time, and it's. You know, they'll not succeed, basically. Ashley 80 says, Andy Cole said Scott Sellers was the best for crossing back in the day, or he could cross a ball. He had a magic left foot.
To be fair, someone you didn't mention before, Paul, Keith Gillespie.
Yes, yeah. I just remember that goal Scott Sellers scored against Sunderland. I don't think you remember at St James's Park when, you know, nowadays that match would have been abandoned because it was literally, there was reservoirs all over the pitch. But he curled a beautiful one at the old Leazer's end into the top corner. I think we won the game 1-0. It was just brilliant. He had just a magic left foot. And, you know, Scott Sellers, for me, doesn't get enough credit for what he did while he was at the club because he helped. He was there. He helped, you know, Newcastle become the entertainers, and he played a big part in it. And I don't think he gets the credit that he should.
Rule Fox is another one from back in the day.
Rule Fox.
I was going to say who Scott Sellers replaced. Kevin Sheedy was always renowned for a good ball in the box as well.
Kevin Sheedy, man. I remember him scoring away at Peterborough. An amazing left foot free kick. Just fabulous.
I remember him scoring in the World Cup. Who was that against?
Oh, shut your face, Daz. Honestly, I might have known a bloody Irishman would come out with that.
Was that the one we got to semi-finals of?
Yeah, I think it was Billy. Yeah, I think so.
Touché.
Wasn't their last World Cup, but close enough.
As for Scott Sellers, I mean, people give Peter Beardsley the credit, and rightly so, for making Andy Cole the player he was. But Scott Sellers, that hat-trick he got against Liverpool, I think they were all, for me, Scottish, every single one of them. Absolutely outstanding player.
Yeah, I remember that. That was at the time that Bruce Grobbelaar was being investigated for letting some very strange. I just kind of look at those goals that Andy Cole's got and thought, Grobbelaar's like he's not even in his 6-yard box. He's somewhere near the corner flag.
He was outstanding second half, wasn't he? He was outstanding second half because he couldn't let anyone win. Shit.
Yeah, he'd probably already bet on the 3 going in the first half. So right, I'm done.
Ivan Toney
Interesting.
had back in that match as well, I think.
Yeah. Paul Tully says mentions that Isak turn and spin on the byline yesterday. Absolutely. He's done that a couple of times, actually, showing, when it looks like the ball's running away, he'll just do a lovely piece of skill. And suddenly the attack's back on again. And but again, it came to naught.
Do you want to know my opinion on Isak?
Yeah.
I think he's going to be like a Tino Espria. I think he's going to be a scorer of great goals, not a great scorer of goals. That's my opinion.
Interesting.
I thought he was going to be like Henri when he came with that clip that showed them kind of side by side. But time will tell.
I like Coffee says we're missing Chris Wood's ability to score from headers, but the problem is he's missing that too. Yeah. Irani Granny says there's way too much love for Longstaff. He runs a lot, yes, but he also loses the ball a lot and lacks quality. I'm not too sure. I don't know. I'm not going to put it on Longstaff. I think Longstaff's been excellent for us this season. I really do.
Covered the most ground of any Premier League player on average per game.
Yeah. And I think he has to take a lot of credit for that. Up there one says Lascelles was good yesterday, made the most of the chance he was given by Eddie Howe. He was, but I don't think he should be captain. That's the difference. I think, if he's gonna play fine, I know he's club captain, and if he plays, then he gets the armband. But for me, Trippier is captain, and I know Trippier's out of form the last couple of games or so, but the captaincy, the quality of the captaincy doesn't go away. You saw him last week when we conceded the first goal against Manchester United. He literally went round the whole team, bigging them up. Saying, "Oh, that's just a goal. Come on. You saw him." And I don't think Lascelles does that. But listen, all the players have come out with respect for Lascelles. Nobody's ever bad-mouthed him and said he's a bad captain or anything like that. He's always got the praise of the players. So who are we to say?
He played 2 games this season, one at Anfield and one at the Etihad, and both times he's come out with 5 colours, I think.
He's got about 4 yellow cards.
Yeah,
3 off the bench.
More yellow cards than games. Yeah, it's bizarre. Ryan, good evening to you. He says, I want to see Bruno and Longstaff play in a double pivot with Almiron ahead behind the striker. I mean, look, I'd love to see us go 4-2-3-1. I think it gives us more options to play Miggy as that number 10, where then you play Gordon, where you play ASM, etc. Then that's up to the manager to decide.
Well, it's the perfect chance to do it when you've only got 3 centre midfielders fit.
Absolutely,
yeah.
If you keep one as spare as to replace either Bruno or whichever one Longstaff and Willett goes on, either one comes on. You need fresh pair of legs.
It is set up for a surprise. This Wolves game, like with who's going to start or a formation change. It is all set up for something special. I just hope it happens for us on the day.
Yeah. Sean's asking, Daz, are them the Guru fishing logos behind you? No,
they are yin yang. So it's like interconnecting forces. The Chinese. Never saw that.
Anyway, we'll be swiftly moving on.
Black and white, and that was it, wasn't it, Daz? It's black and white, and that was the only reason why.
Yeah, it was black and white, but it's also Newcastle season. Yeah.
Okay.
Interconnected forces.
That's fair enough.
Some thought involved.
I thought it was because of collaboration, Daz.
I know.
Pete.
It could mean collaboration. Yeah,
should have told him that earlier, Pete. Should have told him that earlier.
Write that down, Pete, for next week.
If we were to go 4-2-3-1, Billy, who would you play as the 2 midfielders? Would you play Bruno and Joe Linton?
Joe Linton can't play.
No. Obviously,
it'd be Longstaff and Bruno, won't it? If they go that way.
But if he keeps it that way, would you play Joe Linton in that role? Do you think he could play that role next to Bruno?
No, I don't think he's disciplined enough.
Interesting. Yeah. Interesting. But obviously, I think because he's out for the next 2 games, Willock, for me, I don't think can play that role. I think he's too attacking. I don't think he could be disciplined enough. But Bruno and Longstaff, yes. Who would you play as the 3?
Oh, for me, I'd be going. I'd go ASM, Miggy in the middle, and Gordon, and then Isak up top.
Interesting. Billy?
Yeah, I agree with that. And bring Willock on as an input, back sub, or vice versa, as the middle of the 3, if you like.
Interesting. Would anybody else play a different 3 to them?
Different positions. I'd have ASM in number 10.
Really?
Yeah. ASM could drive through the middle into the channels, but he can go left and right. Gives him effectively a free roll, which I think he would revel in my opinion.
It's not a bad shout, actually.
Miggy, because of your connectives with Bruno, you'd probably maybe for this game only, I would maybe keep him on the right and Gordon on the left. But what you could do, and which I've been screaming for the last few weeks, is have them interchangeable. So every 10, 15 minutes, just swap them over. Just keep the fullbacks guessing and give them a different option to defend against. But what you've got is that ASM can also drift into those wide areas as part of his number 10 role. But what you can do is get him in the middle. Like we saw what he did when he came on as a sub at Southampton, that drive in the middle that got Coletta Carr sent off. That he would have put that ball in the net if it had not been taken out. And that was him driving through the middle. You look at what he did away at Man City, he drove through the middle. You look at what he did against Liverpool at home, he drove through the middle. He likes to drive through the middle. And the key to him driving through the middle is he can go left and right. He's the only one at those 3 players that can drift left and right, and you never know which way he's going to go. So for me, give him a central role and let him do whatever he wants. Allow him to be the game changer and emphasize him as that game changer. But what I loved about ASM against Liverpool is that he also provided really strong and needed support for Isak up there. Isak felt in his element with ASM next to him. So if you play ASM in the number 10, he can also be, at times, that second fiddle to Isak, and that will help him play better. Because those guys clearly like each other. They clearly link up well together. And they've clearly got an understanding. Make it work.
And the other thing you could do is just like the interchanging outside of it. Like keep swapping and not Wolves won't know who they're marking, that kind of way.
Interesting. Ian says, did you see Dwight Gale's celebration yesterday? When the Sunderland fans started throwing everything at him. Yeah, the up down. I thought that was brilliant. I listened to his interview after the game as well, and when he said, he was asked about being a former Newcastle player, that must have given him some joy, and he was like, you sort of once a Geordie, always a Geordie, and he said it felt good. And it didn't just feel good, Dwight. It looked good when you scored them. One of the Stoke fans took a picture of, I think it was around 80 minutes of the game, and the amount of pink seats that you could see was absolutely astonishing. There was only about maybe 5,000-6,000 Sunderland fans left in the ground. I mean, I know they're getting beat 5-1 off Stoke. I mean, that is in itself a huge embarrassment. But
but only half had left.
Well, that's very true as well. Yeah, only half had left.
Paul, are we surprised though? Are we genuinely surprised? Look, we've been away at grounds where we've travelled all day. You guys, especially because you're from up north. Like, I remember us being in Leicester and being spanked 5-0, spanked 4-0. Not one fan left the stadium. We sang at 3-0 down. For on 60 minutes until 90 minutes, we had home fans coming out saying, have they really just lost 5-0? They were the best fans in the stadium.
Well, I remember Leicester away last year, mate, when we lost 4-0 and Leicester's goal scoring. We were dancing to Leicester's goal scoring music, so it was like
me and Chris were there with you.
Fans don't understand. Yeah,
and that's the thing. They came out the stadium And obviously, I'm walking a different way to the fans that are getting back on their coaches and their cars. And I've got Leicester fans literally saying, like, Newcastle fans are the best. Like, what other fan base would do that? Like, it was like they'd scored the.
Oh,
We'll never know.
He has had issues with his Wi-Fi recently, like, so it's.
I think we should just leave him there because he looks like, I can't put my finger on who he looks like there. Frozen like that. I can't put my finger on it. But then I'll take him down. There he goes. Ashley 80 says Amanda has been adopted by the club and she is now one of us.
He's back.
Is he? Oh yeah, he is.
Moving.
There he is. He's moving. Are you there, Pete?
Yeah, sorry. My bad.
Carlos says, I found out today I'm going to be a granddad today at the age of 46. Wow. Well done, Carlos. I hope everything goes well, my friend. Jory Howe says, I think what the main worry is with fans is that the season falls away and becomes a non-event, which ironically is much better than the relegation battle. I don't think that's going to happen, though, because I think the position we're in, we're always going to have something to play for this season. It's Newcastle. We expect to be in a battle. It's not just going to, come easy to us. It's going to be one of them things that we just have to put up with, ride the roller coaster, keep those bars on tight and enjoy the ride. Even when we do turn upside down, it's just going to be a hell of a finish to the season, to be honest. But you know what? You know who could cheer us up, Billy?
Dancing cow, I guess. Daisy.
Absolutely. How can you not?
You just got the wife coming into the kitchen dancing. Oh, what are you doing to me? I'm sick of dancing animals.
Seriously, man.
Bring back the zebra. Bring back the zebra.
No,
you had the zebra. We got the cow. Both black and white, incidentally. But Daisy's a big part of this channel now. All the viewers love Daisy and our wrecking ball, which is quite incredible.
I had a panda once as well, but the panda never saw the light of day. I was ruled out from
just as well as
putting them on the show.
Well, listen, I love the zebra. I have to say, the zebra was a big fan of the zebra. Daisy makes an appearance nearly every week for us, nearly every show practically. If you look over Billy's right shoulder, you will see on his green screen is Daisy the cow. Just move over a bit, Billy. Let people see that. There you go.
Cool.
There she is. Because she came about with Billy's beef on TTR Friday, and then she's just a mascot of the channel now. Quite honestly,
he's just getting worried. He's going, what animal is Daz going to come with next now?
Well, clearly you can tell that someone's going through Daz's mind, thinking black and white animals. What's next? A badger. Penguin. I could see, a little penguin waddling with. I'm giving Susan ideas now, but
do you know what?
Daz waddling in with a superimposed head.
Why is no one suggested a dancing magpie?
I know it's hard to get.
Well, I know, but they're more bad luck, though, aren't they? Just a single magpie, isn't it?
They just do more than one.
I mean, I'm sick of. The kids think I'm insane, because every time I'm driving along, and if we're in the countryside, I see a magpie, I'm like, morning, sir. Morning, sir. Morning, sir. And I'm praying that I see two, because obviously that's supposedly for joy. But it's a bit worrying when you go to the airport to get on a plane and you're constantly seeing single ones. You're like, this out of the way. But magpie's a bit. What about a badger? I guess a badger could be, although they're mean, aren't they? They're supposed to be mean, them things. Who knows?
You would be had Bill Oddie watching every 5 minutes of the day.
You what, mate?
You would be if you had bloody Bill Oddie staring at you every 10, 20 minutes of the day. Every 20 minutes of every hour.
Yeah, that is he still alive?
Of course he is.
Okay.
We went over Badger on the way to work last year. Seriously, we went over Badger.
Really?
Right, Billy, whenever you say things like that, I expect a punchline to follow.
No, it's serious to God. Quarter 6 in the morning, it was still dark, and we were going up the industrial estate where I work, and lights weren't on. And then we saw these eyes turn towards us. It ran straight in front of the car, straight over it. Bang. Took his front what's name off, bumper off. Yeah, totally.
I thought you were going to say took his front face off.
Between 2 and 6 in the morning is when badgers come out at night.
Yeah,
we used to have badgers come down when I was growing up at the bottom of the garden at like 2 in the morning, but you can hear their claws because their claws are so sharp they can slice through bone. So you don't want to get too close to them. But honestly, I'm surprised your car wasn't wrecked because those badgers are huge.
They were big, massive.
The only ones you can leave go over them and destroy them are lorries.
Yeah.
Lorries are the only ones that destroy them. It's crazy.
You've seen Jaws. You've seen Jaws, everyone. You've seen Jaws. The next film out will be Badger, and it will be directed by Pete Davey, executive producer Billy Trey. God knows who's going to star in it because I'm certainly not. Fearful. Cut through board. That did it for me. Time and Tide says we need a natural goal scorer around the box, someone that actually likes and wants to put the ball in the back of the net. A lot of people saying that maybe we should try the two of them up front. I'm not sure whether we'll ever see that, to be honest, but there you go. Annie says best fans at Ashton Gate this season by a mile. Who's he talking about? If you say City, Annie, I swear to God, you will never be welcome on this channel again, Sunshine. I'm not having that.
I'm guessing it must be Man City.
Man City. Yeah, that's just because the Geordies haven't.
No, you know what he means, don't you? You know who he means.
I know who he means.
Them up the bleeding road.
Yeah.
Annie.
You wait though. They're probably shut on your seats, though, Annie.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah. They like doing that. Devon just basically go Daisy. Ashley says, think Daisy needs an outfit on. Time and Tide think looks like war lass at the disco. Oh, wow. Fancy a channel seeing the benefit of a dancing animal.
Oh yeah, no. Yeah. He's a big fan.
Munch says hashtag bring back the zebra. You've got to bring it back, Daz. You simply have to.
Daz, I think we need AGM.
Why did the zebra get banished? Can I just ask that? Why was it sent to the animal heaven?
No, it was. We kind of just got sick of it a bit. I know certain members in our group definitely got sick of it. Martin and Pete, and Chris loved it. He'd do a half a show with the zebra, I think, just him and the zebra. But he had his time. It was all kind of linked to will it, won't it, the whole takeover thing, and it was all around that the zebra project. So that was
it was also around Chris's voice note as well, wasn't it? It's Friday, it's Saturday, Sunday.
So it served its purpose, but we moved on from that.
John Green says, what about a giraffe, Paul? You can stick that up there the sun don't shine, John. Clive says a honey badger with a king cobra in his gob. Samsonite says a skunk. Rachel's got two tattooed magpies on her shoulder.
Has she, Francesco?
That's in it. I'm saying no. That was Daz, Rachel, not me. I'm taking no responsibility for that. Arani Granny said I had a fight with a badger once in my wheelie bin. He won. He shat in my garden and left. Oh, Jesus Christ. A spray painted lion is black and white. Oh God! Ronald says a bad omen for me is seeing loads of magpies as the Toon have got hammered. Strange coincidence. Tangy says cocaine badger. Yeah, I mean, listen. Has anybody been to see Cocaine Bear by any chance?
No.
Has any? No. I can't see that getting very good viewings at the theatre.
You seen it?
Absolutely not. I might watch it when it comes out on TV. On one of the film channels, but
apparently it's Moorish, but not worth the entrance money.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
He's here all week.
Yeah, he is. He's here all week. Yeah. Samsonite says a polar bear caught in a Nutella binge is sort of black and white. Fair enough. Fair enough. Rohan says Tierney, Madison, Neves, and a new winger forward would be the perfect window. Well, I'm not sure about Tierney.
Well, two of them, yeah.
Neither am I.
Two of them.
Tierney is very injury prone. Frankie says, "What is this spring watch?" Hey, we're a bit of everything on the Toon Review, man. We're a bit of everything. Cocaine Badger could be the sequel to Cocaine Bear.
There you go.
Dear God.
The market
I've just seen Jimmy's come.
Oh, here we go.
Oh dear. Daz could be a gerbil named Richard Gere.
Jimmy.
Dear. Oh man. Daisy is a lass from Sunderland, such a cow, says Chippers. Annie says Man City were awful. They were loudest when they were appealing for a penalty at 3-0 up. We zoned out of any of their chance, and we were losing most of the game. Yeah, well,
there?
Yeah, the Geordies haven't been there. That's why the Geordies ain't been there. Give our. I'm not having that. I am not having that for a second. That is a true story. Give our. No.
Does Ted play the starring role? Yeah, Ted out the film, Ted. I wonder if he plays a starring role in it. So he had a bit of cocaine in his film, didn't he?
Watch that.
Billy, it's a proper bear. It's like a grizzly bear. Why are we talking about bloody cocaine bear?
You brought it
the
up.
cow on. The cow. You
brought it up.
I did. I'll get myself my coat. But anyway, guys, we've come to the end of the show. Unfortunately, on that note, I hope you have lovely dreams about cocaine bears tonight, raiding your kitchen fridge and things like that. But at least we haven't mentioned, the milk tray man tonight and chimneys and stupid stuff. Still don't know why that came about, but there you go. Clarkey says it was based on a true story about a bear that took cocaine. Come on, you're having me on. Like, I'm gonna have to research this film now. Something I really didn't want to do on a Sunday night, but I'll have to put.
You're not going to sleep otherwise, are you?
I won't, mate. No, I won't. I definitely won't. Hang on. Troll says cocaine bear is a true story. Just the bear died shortly after eating cocaine. John Doe says cocaine bear is based on a true story. Look it up. Wild story, poor bear. Okay. I'm going to have to read up about this. Anyway, thank you very much, everybody, for watching tonight. Thank you to all the super chatters. Mod Squad, you've been fantastic as usual. And, of course, all you guys over 800 watching on a Sunday night is pretty incredible. Thank you so much for your views. If you have enjoyed the show, please do hit that like button on your way out. And, of course, if you're new to the channel and like what you see, come and be part of the community. Hit that subscribe button, free to do so. And also the notification bell, and which will let you know when we upload, go live, or we schedule the show. Thank you very much to the lads from Loaded, of course. Their link is down in the description. Hit the link. Go and subscribe to them as well. Great football content across both channels, of course. Most days actually. Most days during the week until we all burn out and we'll have to have a night off somewhere along the line. Daz never does. He just changes his toupee every week and he's fine. He looks like he's fresh out of bed. But thank you very much. Really appreciate it, lads. Thank you so much for your company tonight. Have a great, a few hours that are left of Sunday evening. Hopefully your week starts off in the right way. And anything coming up on Loaded, guys, next week?
Plenty.
Yeah,
that'll do.
A few shows, obviously, one of days will be back, but a few shows in the pipeline. As we always say, keep an eye on YouTube, keep an eye on Twitter. And we'll be putting up shows as well. Just to say, we're it's not been long since we kicked 5K. We're at 5.2. We're heading towards 6 in a short space of time. So if anyone hasn't subscribed to us, just give us a subscribe. We're working together as a collaboration. It'd be great to have new viewers in the chat to talk about all things Newcastle from a Loaded perspective.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's your homework, guys. But as I say, if you're new to both channels, subscribe. It is free to do so, guys. You can become members of both channels if you hit the join button, which is down there somewhere. And of course, you can do that over on Loadeds as well. Many prizes are given away across both channels as well for members. So get involved. But we will see you all next week. Thanks, guys, and good night.
Oh,
See you later, everyone.